This isn't just a Democrat problem, it's a Republican problem. You have politicians of both political parties who don't understand the gravity of the failure to enforce the rule of law and protect lives. The big news as we go to produce this video is that Steve Bannon, the former Trump White House advisor, was convicted by a jury for contempt of Congress, specifically his refusal to cooperate with the January 6 Rump Committee. I see this whole prosecution and this whole targeting of Bannon as fundamentally corrupt. He objected to the subpoenas by the January 6 Rump Committee in good faith. And for that, he was targeted and prosecuted, and now he faces, I think, potentially jail. I don't know if his appeals will be considered or go anywhere. Obviously, once you're convicted, it's always hard to overturn a conviction on appeal. But this highlights in my view, the targeting of Bannon just highlights the corruption here in Washington, D.C. When you compare and contrast the over-the-top targeting of Trump world with the way, for instance, that even Durham is operated, walking very carefully around people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. When you see the Justice Department, for instance, go slow, stonewall, and frankly protect the Biden family from the consequences of their obviously criminal behavior. And then you see Steve Bannon, who got into a political fight, frankly, with the January 6th committee. One over whether there was a good faith basis to assert executive privilege in testimony. And rather than just fight over that, the Justice Department, or just recognize that was a political fight, the Justice Department, run by Biden appointees, on behalf of the Pelosi Rump Committee, prosecuted Bannon in, frankly, unprecedented fashion. And so now he's facing jail. So this is, in my view, a political prosecution. The Pelosi Rump Committee, as demonstrated by the various hearings, including the hearings this week, is nothing but a political operation designed to, A, make it more difficult for President Trump to run for re-election, B, targeting other members of the House and the Senate who they don't like, and then C, targeting innocent citizens with harassment and threats because they are concerned that American citizens will continue to support election integrity and question election results that, in their view, have been tarred by election misconduct or other failures. So what this January 6th Rump Committee is all about, it's about targeting and suppressing the political opposition to Joe Biden in the run-up not only to the November elections for Congress, but obviously the 2024 elections. Now, I don't know if Joe Biden is going to run in 2024, but what they're trying to do is kneecap any political opposition to him by suggesting that everyone who has concerns about the election is a criminal. That's what they're trying to do, is criminalize opposition to their political agenda, whether it be on elections or anything else. And Bannon is a victim of that. Now, compare and contrast, for instance, the way Bannon was treated by this corrupt Justice Department with the way that Eric Holder, Obama's corrupt Department of Justice Attorney General, was treated by the Justice Department. Holder refused to turn over documents about lies to Congress concerning the Fast and Furious scandal, which saw guns moved to the cartels in Mexico with the support and approval of the Obama-Biden Justice Department, Eric Holder's Justice Department, and of course the ATF. And they knew it was going on, and they lied to Congress about it, and Congress was investigating those lies. And Holder had, I think, nearly 2 years to turn over the documents, and there was a fight going back and forth, and finally Congress held him in contempt for refusing to turn over the documents. Now, of course, the Justice Department under Obama refused to prosecute. Now, fast forward to today, where you have the Democratic Congress work with the Democratic Justice Department to prosecute an opponent of the Democrats. Now, Bannon isn't just any opponent. He has a unique voice, given his First Amendment protected activities on the War Room, which is a massive podcast and program that's available online, and I think it's even available on TV these days. And so, and he's, in many ways, he's the leader of the opposition to what I would call the deep state. And it goes beyond partisanship and party, in my view. So this is the targeting of a political opponent as opposed to a criminal. Now, I don't know whether he technically, and maybe he did technically violate or is technically in contempt, but I'm highlighting those contempt issues related to Congress are often handled civilly and in political negotiations. And now the rules have been changed because it's Trump, right? So it's dangerous times in terms of having these politicized prosecutions. The Justice Department, as I say, goes slow on Biden, protected Hillary, protected Obama, and compare and contrast, for instance, the failure to prosecute the Colbert Gang. Stephen Colbert, the television show host, he had people in the U.S. Capitol complex who were there and ended up being arrested because they broke the rules, just like the January 6th protesters broke the rules. What's the difference? They're leftist. And so the Justice Department announced they wouldn't be prosecuted. So it's really just a slap in the face of any American who has any concern about the rule of law, the equal application of the law, the equal protection of the law. And this is the danger we're in as a constitutional republic. And of course, then you have the air of violence associated with so much of what the left is doing. You're having the Justice Department, while it's throwing the book at Steve Bannon, refusing to enforce the rule of law that protects the lives and protects the rule of law from being obstructed. It protects the lives of justices and protects the rule of law being obstructed by preventing inappropriate demonstrations targeting judges. And you have these demonstrations targeting Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Barrett, Justice Thomas, Chief Justice Roberts as well. And they're absolutely prohibited by federal law. And this sort of atmosphere has led, it's obvious, to an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. And even this week, you see someone tried to kill Lee Zeldin, who is a gubernatorial candidate up in New York, running for governor up there. And the guy who tried to kill him is let out almost immediately. So it is a dangerous time to be a conservative public official because of what this Justice Department is doing and the failure to enforce the law to protect the rights and lives and safety of all American citizens, irrespective of their political affiliation. But that's not going on here. And as I said, these are dangerous times, and what Judicial Watch is trying to do is we're trying to enforce the rule of law by highlighting these issues and educating individuals about it, but also investigating what's going on here in terms of, for instance, the failure to protect the justices. And I would encourage you, it's not just a federal problem, to ask your local officials, especially if you live in Maryland or Virginia, ask the governor of Virginia, Governor Youngkin, why isn't he being aggressive in protecting the justices who live in the Commonwealth? Ask the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, why isn't he being aggressive in protecting the justices who live in his state? Both of those, by the way, are Republican governors. So this isn't just a Democrat problem, it's a Republican problem. You have politicians of both political parties who don't understand the gravity of the failure to enforce the rule of law and protect lives, where decisions are made based on politics as opposed to the merits and the constitutional command that everyone deserves equal protection under the law. So that's where we stand in terms of the current crisis. And we're going to call it as we see it. My concern is that, Zeldin wasn't killed. Justice Kavanaugh wasn't killed. But unless something is done, someone could be hurt or killed. So we want to defend and protect the rule of law because it literally protects our lives. And when we have the Justice Department on the wrong side of the line of the rule of law, oh boy, I hate to think what will happen. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.